You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
All right, folks, happy Tuesday evening. This is one half of the Jen and Rick Show, Mr. Big Robinson. We're coming to you live right now on the Tuesday edition of Jen and Rick. There will be no Thursday edition because of Thanksgiving, so we're actually taking that night off. On the America Off the Rails show, we're actually doing a short schedule for this week, so we didn't do one last night. We're not going to be doing one tonight, but we'll be doing shows on Wednesday and Thursday because my co-host on Thursdays has lined up an interview that he thought was important that we get out. So we'll actually be... and that one's late enough in the day that hopefully my house is quieted down by then. Otherwise, it could be an interesting interview. But anyway, he's going to do most of the talking on that one because I told him he may have to take lead because I have a house full of people on Thursday. But anyway, enough of me talking about what's going on with the schedules and everything else. Of course, you're waiting to hear from the other half of the show, the people that actually people to actually tune in to listen to her, not me. But that's okay. Miss Jen, how are you?
I'm doing great. Just already have family in town. I've already started my Thanksgiving kind of celebration. Actually just came to do the show from helping prepare some of the things that we're going to be having the next couple of days. So my sister's in town. My brother was here last night, and my grandmother's here, and so we're already all in. I think we opened a bottle of wine at about 5:30, so we're ready to be on Thanksgiving vacation.
How bad is it that you and I have talked enough that as soon as you said your Thanksgiving had already started, I knew there was wine in there somewhere?
Exactly. Yeah, you know me.
I was like, yep, here comes the wine story. So. You know, honestly, I was going to do things a little bit different tonight because we could, talk about the fact that everybody from about 40 years ago seems to have taken the AT&T campaign to reach out and touch someone way too literally, and it's all coming to light now. But, I kind of thought, since this is going to be our only show for this week, maybe we should at least start the show by telling folks some things that we're thankful for. Because I, for one, am thankful that you and I have started doing this show. I'm thankful that we have a platform like KLRN Radio. I'm thankful that through this platform, I'm actually starting to get to meet folks that are involved in terrestrial radio and have actually recently put in my application for a full-time radio job. So cross your fingers.
Wow, that is really exciting. And I know you've been working towards that forever, and you've made a lot of headway in making connections and, networking on that front. And that's really, really cool. Well, I'm thankful for quite a few of the same things that you are, this show, the station. I'm also just really, really thankful for a few of these people that, it's kind of hard when I talk to people in real life and they're not on Twitter, and especially not on a certain sect of Twitter. There's sports Twitter, there's pop culture Twitter, there's political Twitter, and all of us kind of span a bunch of different genres at various times, but we all have our little hubs, right? And so obviously you and I are on political Twitter. But, when you talk to people in real life that aren't really active in anything like that, they don't really get how when you say that some of these people are your friends, and I'm like, oh, my friend on Twitter, or oh, my friend that's in Misfits, or oh, my friend that's a radio host with KLRN. They don't get how these relationships can still be like very real and very meaningful, and that it is different. It is different than just being like, oh, I liked your post on Facebook. No, like a lot of us get to know each other in a very real way, and we share our lives together, and we talk daily. I mean, we talk to each other more than a lot of people talk to any friend they have in real life. And I am so thankful for this little Twitter family I've found, amongst several different groups of people, several of which you and I are in together. And they just really have become so important to me. I've been lucky to meet a few in real life, and there are plans in the coming months and years to meet a few more of them in real life. And I've talked to tons of them on the phone for countless hours, and I am not a phone talker. Anybody that even knows me, I hate the phone. But when I'm like, oh, I can actually, let's just say, like, call my friend so-and-so, or I can text this person and they're like, oh, too much to say. Let's just call. Let's have a chat. I have just so enjoyed making real connections with people, some of which are very much like-minded, some of which we don't agree on all that much, but we just get along very, very well, and we appreciate each other. And it just really has become this little family and support system. And I am super thankful for that. And it's something I never anticipated finding when I joined Twitter several years ago. So I think that would be my biggest thing. In addition to the obvious of health, marriage, family, love, and all of that, I think my biggest thing would be my Twitter family and how much we've all grown together, and I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, my wife's one of those ones that just doesn't get it, because I'll be like over on my phone, and I'll be like hanging out one of the groups that you and I are in, and somebody will post something, or they'll do the little stupid Instagram thing, and I just bust up laughing. She's like, what are you looking at? And she's like, oh, it's just the Twitter group. She's like, I don't understand how you spend so much time talking to these people that you've never met. I said, well, I actually have met some of them, dear. We do political conventions together quite often. But no, I haven't met all of them. And she's like, I just don't get it, because I'm not friends with it. She's like, anybody that's on my Facebook is somebody that I've actually met in real life. And I'm like, well, how are you ever going to get to know anybody else if that's your only criteria?
Yeah, but I think it's also neat because we've all done things, like we're all at different points in our life. And I think not being face-to-face, I think it's really offered a lot of opportunities. And this is something I don't think people really consider with a platform like this, but it's offered the opportunity to become friends and share life experiences with people that are not necessarily your age group or pick any demographic. That's not it. And at different states and with different life goals and careers. And we just don't always get that opportunity to be introduced to that many various different types of people. And that's what we're getting here, because we're behind a screen at first until we start to get to know each other better. And there's not the stipulations, and there's not the maybe even a stigma of any kind of like, oh, like a couple of my very best friends that I've made through Twitter and I now consider like my best friends in real life, and I talk to them on the phone very regularly, some of them are, 20 years older than me, and I wouldn't have found them in real life. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to make that kind of connection, or it would have been very hard to make that kind of connection because our circles just don't cross. And we wouldn't have thought to seek each other out as confidants and as friends. And so here we are with all of these people in all different age ranges and from all different backgrounds, and some with kids, some not, some still married, some divorced, some remarried, some single for life. Like we're having all of these different experiences, and we're getting to know each other, have been for several years now. And we share our special moments about our kids. We share our heartbreaks with each other, and we support each other in loss. And it's and in real ways. I mean, we send each other things we have all come together to help each other out when there's been something in a monetary way, when there's been something going on. And I just think it's so special and it's so neat. And it's all these different people that I probably would not have ever thought or could even have the chance to meet and come together with in real life because of the various barriers that are pretty natural when it comes to social circles. So I'm very grateful for that because it transcends the boundaries.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that makes it different for me is, for those of you who may not have heard this before, at age 12, my mom married a member of the Air Force, and we started moving all around the country. So for me, Twitter just kind of, social media, internet, things like that, they've kind of become an extension of what I had in my childhood, because we would move into a town, I would get to know people, I would make friends. Suddenly that next school year, we were moving half a state away, going to another school. So I'd gotten to the point where I had a group of people that I was constantly corresponding with, because back in the day, the only way to really do that was phone or by mail. So to me, Facebook, Twitter, things like that, it's basically just ginormous pen pal circles. So it's never really been uncomfortable for me, but it's one of the things, like I said, it drives my wife absolutely crazy, because like I'll be talking about something that JD says or Stacy says, me laughing my butt off. My wife will actually get mad because, JD will call me every so often, and we'll be on the phone for like an hour or so because,
Oh, you can't get off the phone with JD.
I know, and that's what I keep trying to tell her. She's like, you don't talk to me that long on the phone. It's like, you don't understand. Once he starts talking, he never stops.
My husband is like this too. My husband is like, okay, you hate being on the phone, but okay, sure. JD will call, Rebecca will call, like all these different, he's like, and you'll be like, blah, 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 and you'll just have the best time talking to them. Or some of us Skype, and sometimes we'll get a group of 3 or 4 of us Skyping together, and we'll just gab and laugh and just have the best time. I'm like, well, it's the next best thing, because we can't go meet up for dinner. We can't go have drinks on the regular, because we're all in various different states all over this country. So this is our hangout. This is our meetup. And that's what our Twitter circles are, our DMs are too. And I still have my friends in my life, in Austin also, but it's just I just feel like it's such a bonus and it's such a blessing. And I've just been so grateful for it. And I grew up with a lot of friends of different ages, but that was because of circumstances I was in. And it's just hard to meet that many people from different life experiences to be actually all friends together in real life like that. It just is. So that's nobody's real fault, but it's just so cool. And I love, like, everyone gives me a little bit of encouragement and parenting advice. And then I rib y'all sometimes about being, younger than y'all are and making little jokes about that. And then y'all rib me for not knowing, who certain singers are or something that I maybe should know. And I don't know, it's just such a great environment. I just really, really enjoy it. And like I said, I never would have expected to find this when I decided to join Twitter during the midterms in 2014, because I was just like, I want a place where I can vent and rant about politics. And instead I just found, and I do get to do that, but I also just found this, as horrid as open Twitter can be sometimes, and everyone's beating each other up, I've also found this nice little refuge with all of these great people that I'm just so happy to have met and become friends with. So I chalk that up as a win.
Yeah, Twitter establishing the group DMs is probably one of the only reasons that I stayed on Twitter, because I
think that's right.
I honestly, I did not like Twitter when everything was basically, you could DM back and forth with like one person, everything else had to be on OpenTL, because dude, when you had to put everything on OpenTL, everybody was all over you about every little thing that you ever said. So now at least you can go into a place where, it's like an old school chat room back when the internet was first, a new thing. And to me, that's one of the things that has made Twitter much better. Despite what some people think about the character limit, I actually have found ways to put that to good use. Like, making fun of people is a lot easier now with 280 characters. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. But I probably shouldn't do that nearly as much as I do, but people annoy me.
Well, I don't hate it, because I don't hate it if people don't max it out. It's the constant maxing out of the 280 by certain people. I feel like it's kind of like an abuse of it. But when you're just making a point and you have enough characters now to finish your point without cutting out part of it, that's fine to me. That doesn't bother me at all. And a lot of people that I see using it, they're not going to 280. They're going to 160 or 180. Just something pretty reasonable to be able to finish out their sentence without coming up with all these crazy like text abbreviations, that are just that kind of dumb down the sentence sometimes when you're trying to make a very, coherent point. People read it as like, oh, you used you instead of YOU. Well, yeah, we all had to do that. And we had to do B/C for because, or W/, and I still do that because I'm in the habit. But we don't necessarily have to do that as much anymore to get a succinct point across because we have the characters to be able to do that now. So I don't completely hate it, but I do not like the some of these people that go on 25 to 30 tweet rants and every single one of them is maxed out to 280. I'm like, oh, this is just so insufferable. But
yeah,
my
those
eyes
annoy
just
me.
start
I have to admit that.
You may be making great points, but my eyes are glazing over.
I don't know. To me, it was funny because when the 280 thing really started becoming a thing, I remember Sam talking about, she's like, I don't even read anybody that can do 280, dude. She's like, I lose attention after the 140, so I tune everything else out after that. And honestly, I think it has killed some of the flavor for Twitter just a little bit because, part of the fun was having to figure out how to get creative when you realized you were out of room.
Yes. I would agree with that to a certain extent. It's like, okay, wait, how can I really make my point more concise? How can I eliminate the fluff and just get right to the bare bones of it? And I think that for a lot of people that I know, especially bloggers, I think that's also helped us be a little bit better writers because you get so used to being just a little too, adding a little too much extra. And there are times where that is warranted, and there are times when those extra adjectives and descriptives and kind of reiterating your point, it can be a good thing, but we also can very easily get carried away, especially those of us that have decent vocabularies and we like to be able to make these, dramatic sentences. Well, that's not always the best way to get across, a point in a political article. So I think that it has kind of, Twitter in some weird way has accidentally helped all of us be a little bit more to the point and concise, which I think has helped some of our writing, which is just an interesting look at the effects of being on Twitter all the time.
It has absolutely helped writing flow. It absolutely kills you when you have to start realizing that you have to get used to writing an AP writing style again.
Yeah, and which I was never a fan of to begin with. So
I never was either, but unfortunately, I was an editor for a local small online paper here, so I had to dust it off a few years ago. Then I kind of got out of the habit of doing it because when I started writing mostly op-eds, nobody really cared if they were AP style. But now I'm having to basically dust it off again because I have to prove to these guys at the station that I'm applying for that I actually do know how to use AP writing style. And I'm like, I really never liked this in the first place.
You're like, dang it.
But yeah, it's just annoying, and I'm like, it's just, it's AP, so it's pretentious. I'm just gonna call it like I see it. The whole thing about the AP writing style, it reeks of pretentiousness, and I never really have liked it, especially the whole upside down pyramid thing. I'm like, just stop. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, not to bring that up again, but yeah, if you guys are listening, say a little extra prayer for me, because if this works, it will be a heck of a pay raise. I'll be doing radio full-time, and since I can do that side of stuff under my real name, I should still be able to get to keep doing this stuff on the side, because nobody will know, and never the two shall meet.
Right. No, I hear you.
Because, as an actual journalist, the last thing anybody wants to hear me say is, yeah, I also do shock radio over here. They're like, yeah, no, you're fired. Dang, sorry. All right, so So, a minute ago you said, ribbing on you because you might not know who a certain artist is or anything. I'm probably
David Cassidy?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm probably going to regret asking this question, but do you know who David Cassidy is?
I do, and as soon as I found out the news, I was texting my mom, who, by the way, this is really kind of embarrassing, but she was downstairs and I was upstairs, and I texted her, and I was like, David Cassidy died, with big sad, a lot of teardrops and sad faces. I absolutely know who David Cassidy is. Also, remember that I was kind of teasing about the musician part of it because I tend to know, I sometimes even know more than people older than me about older musicians. So just because of what my family does and where we all come from. But yeah, it's so sad. 67, that is young.
Yeah, that is entirely too young. The funny thing is, my boss at KOKC tweeted out a picture of those two together in '91 when he was working for KJ here in Oklahoma, and I swear that I don't exactly know how old my boss is, but I know he's got a few years on me. I swear to God, he looked like he was 15.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, in 91, I was a junior in high school, so I know I was probably about 16, 17 years old, because I graduated late, because I tanked my 4th grade year the first time when my parents got divorced. I just said, F it, and it was bad enough, dude. I was like, because that's the year they were trying to teach you how to learn cursive. I was so mad at the world, I would just put squiggles on my paper and just be like, here, I did my homework. My teacher would be like, what are you trying to write here? I don't understand it. I'm like, who cares? My parents are getting a divorce. Leave me alone.
Oh, well, I remember whenever, there were several bands for my parents, but my mom was in late middle school and then high school in the 70s. So whenever I was going through my teenage music phase or whatever, she and my aunt were so sweet to me and my cousins, and were like, oh, we are taking you to the concerts. Yes, we will go. We will wait outside to get the autographs. We will go to the after party at the 18 and up club and we'll get you in. They did all the fun things for us because they were like, this is what we wanted to be able to do with people like David Cassidy, even the Beatles at one point, like different people. They're like, oh my gosh, no, like we totally get it. We lived and breathed their music, and we had their posters on our wall, and we couldn't wait for them to come on, whichever late night show at the time was airing, and, whatever else. And so they were really cool with us about it. And so then they started sharing some of their memories and the music, the songs they most liked. And I remember particularly about David Cassidy. And I also watched reruns of The Partridge Family. So I've always loved all the old shows. So I'm very well familiar with him, and it's a sad thing.
Yeah. The only thing that, at least I can say at this point, at least his suffering's over. He had nobody really talks about it, but he had a really hard life.
He did. And he bounced back multiple times. And I don't mean went on to have this other second coming in his career a la Rob Lowe. I mean, he just overcame and lived as a normal person for a while, where that wasn't always going to even be a possibility. He faced so many struggles. He overcame a lot of them. And he just, I don't know that you ever truly get rid of a lot of those demons, though. And I think that is something that kind of always plagues and haunts you when you go through a life like he did.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things, and we've seen it before. Get involved in things like the music side of things and the Hollywood scene really, really young, and usually bad things do tend to happen because you're too young to really understand what's going on, and now, with everything else that we know, there's no telling what was going on with him when he was younger in Hollywood. I don't even want to think about that, to be honest, but it might explain a few things, because everybody that I've come to find out, most of the people that I knew that I was, kind of watching in movies and TV shows growing up, they were having issues. Now we're finding out 20, 30, 40 years later that this is why they were having those issues, and I'm like, yeah, this probably explains a few things. Like the kid from Sequest, Jonathan Brandis. I loved that show when I was in high school. I had no idea. I somehow completely even missed the fact that he committed suicide, much less that he committed suicide over that. In that came back around when all this stuff came out, and I was like, holy crap, I remember that kid. I love that kid, because I was about his age, and it was cool to watch him in the show, being in there on that sub and doing those things, and I'm like, that would be what I would do if I could do that. But we're not cool enough for that yet.
I will be interested to hear if Shirley Jones speaks out at all. You know, she was his stepmother and on the Partridge Family with him for many years, and she's been in show business since she was a teen, and starred in famous roles in things like The Music Man, The Librarian and the Music Man, and she was the lead in Oklahoma, and she was in Carousel. Anyways, all these movies, and then obviously then went on and she did The Partridge Family. I'll be interested to hear if, now that he's passed, in the next year or so, if there are any stories that come out, because there were a couple times where she was interviewed and she asked people to respect the Cassidy family's privacy, and alluded to issues and things. And I don't know if that's just drugs, or if maybe they did experience, because so many of their young children were involved in show business, if they did experience something untoward or whatever else, or if it was just, sometimes it's just the burden of it all. And it's just hard to handle that, the rigorous schedule, the fame, and the pressure put on them. So it doesn't always have to be something nefarious, other than it's just a hard life to be in and get used to as a child with what's placed on your shoulders. My husband and I were talking the other day about, there's one family that had multiple child actor stars that are still doing well and ended up being super smart, both graduated in high honors from Stanford University and whatever. And that's the Savage family, Ben Savage and Fred Savage, the Wonder Years, of course. And then Ben Savage was a Boy Meets World. Those kids were basically from diapers on screen, and they somehow kept them sane and out of drugs and out of bad relationships and out of the whole, childhood star problem that tends to happen, the cloud that tends to descend on those people. So you just never know. I don't know if it's the parents. I don't know if it's the timing, if it's the certain part of the industry, the right producers, or what it is. But it's a lot to put on those kids, and then add in any sort of bad behavior by adults, and it just makes it exponentially worse.
Yeah, I would completely agree, and I'm not sure what the magic formula was for those two, but I'm glad that they're two of the rare instances where things seem to have worked out okay. All right, so we've hit the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, I guess we probably should move on and discuss reach out and touch someone. But anyway, in honor of Thanksgiving, since we're not doing a show on Thursday, I have special Thanksgiving bumper music. So woohoo, here we go. Maybe.
Turkey in your belly, time now where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
We'll be right back, folks.
Here it go, here it go. Now turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Turkey in your belly time, turkey in your belly time, turkey in your belly time. Now where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Now here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Now turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly. Do the turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly with a big drumstick. Do the turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly with a big. Now where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Now here.
All right, folks, there's my annual Thanksgiving bumper, one of my favorite turkey songs ever. And you know me, I'm a fat kid. I'm all about the turkey. Now, before we go too much further, I do want to point something out. And I'm not going to mention this person by name, but apparently somebody went on a complete anti-turkey eating tirade today on Twitter. But then also shamed someone into basically saying that because they were a guy, they really couldn't have an opinion on abortion. But they were talking about, it's okay to kill babies, but turkeys are sentient. I'm really confused by that. But anyway, that was just my random thought on the way back in. So welcome back to Jen and Rick. I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. My other half of the crew is Jen Homestead. And we're going to keep talking. Actually, I think I'm going to let Jen take lead on this segment because I feel like I talked a lot on that last one.
I feel like I also talked a lot, but this is probably true too. So I was going to say we can't really not address the most recent situation, which is the allegations against the longest serving member or active member of the House of Representatives, Representative John Conyers from Michigan. He is a Democrat, though you will not see a single headline that designates him as such. Very often it will just say Representative Conyers or Michigan Representative Conyers. None of them are putting the D there because, well, that doesn't really suit their agenda. But he apparently has had several allegations where he has settled these harassment suits with taxpayer money, and they basically shifted stuff around to keep these people on payroll for what this one document shows is around $27,000 and change, $28,000 for 3 months in which this person would not show up to work but would get paid in order to shut up about whatever it was that he did to her. There are many other things going on, sexual favors. Obviously, this is all affairs. By the way, I recently read this is during the time when his wife is in prison for some other sort of corruption. So really, really 5-star couple we've got going on here. But I think it's really maddening that this has been basically covered up by Congress. Like there's a built-in system to be able to handle this and to settle with these people with taxpayer money and cover it up to where it does not look like anything out of the norm on paper. So as it crosses the various desks of approval, it is not looking like a harassment settlement or a sexual assault settlement. It is just looking like a salary approval. And that is so maddening to me. I think that this is really annoying also that, first of all, these headlines, and obviously every time they're talking about it, they just keep calling him representative and they're talking about how he's older and this and that. Like that's supposed to in some way make us be like, oh yeah, remember how you're supposed to hate the old men that are in office that control everything and equate him to all the other bad old men. But he was a Democrat, and within 24 hours of this being released and actually new things coming out every few hours about it all, it is not trending on Twitter. It is not even close to the top on CNN.com. You have to scroll down quite a ways to get to the category where it's showing that. I checked various other news sites that are not that are claimed to be moderate, and it's not even a top story. Can you imagine how this would be if this was a Republican lawmaker? Taxpayer funds used to pay off harassment suits or harassment accusers? Can you imagine? It would be the only thing anyone was talking about. It would headline every single thing, and it would condemn the entire GOP. And instead, there are articles, there are people reporting it. I'm not saying they're not. But it is kind of being shoved down, and it is being overshadowed by a few other things. And they're trying to, it just seems like they're trying to keep it a little bit like under wraps, especially the fact that he's a freaking Democrat.
Well, the interesting thing about that slush fund that you were mentioning, when all of this really first started coming to light, that how this thing was being used, one of the first things somebody did, and I did the same thing, was went back and found out when this fund was initially set up, which, oddly enough, was actually around the time that Newt Gingrich took power. So, of course, that's the only thing they're focusing on. But this was originally set up with the best of intentions, and at some point it morphed. Because what had happened before is there was really no recourse for anybody that was, trying to bring harassment charges or anything else against a senator, their aide, or congressman, pretty much anybody else. And that covered pretty much the entire umbrella of Congress. So when this came about, it was basically as a way to make sure that people could have redress, and there was supposed to be censure involved and everything else. And some of the teeth got pulled once the Democrats got back into power again. But they only really talk about the fact that, well, this was all started under the Republicans, so it's their fault. But they didn't bother to research what it was originally started for and all the changes that it's gone on under. And I bet if we could find a way to look at the spreadsheets and figure out who spent the money when, I have a feeling a lot of this stuff was actually probably when the Democrats were more prominent. But that's just a gut feeling.
Yeah, I mean, according to some of even the facts.
Remember how I said Skype hates us? Guess what? Skype hates us. I'm going to try to get her back now. We're going to go ahead and probably take about a 60-second commercial while I try to get my co-host back. Yay, fun times. Yay for live radio. We'll be back in about 60.
In your belly time, turkey in your belly time, turkey in your belly time. Now where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Now here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Now turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in turkey in your belly. Do the turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly with a big drum.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
In your belly time, turkey in your belly time. Now where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
All right, so the good news is I have my co-host back. The bad news is neither one of us can figure out where she was when she dropped, because apparently Skype hates us. So the last thing I remember is we were kind of talking about the slush fund thing, and then I had talked about the fact that if we looked at the numbers, I bet you most of it was Democratic, and you said something about the numbers that are available now or something, and then you were just like,
yeah, that's showing that's basically true. What then I went on to say was, I am not satisfied with Conyers' statement. I don't think that it even remotely it is adequate for the situation. He says, in our country, we strive to honor this fundamental principle that all are entitled to due process. In this case, I expressly and vehemently denied the allegations made against me and continue to do so. However, there is record of him settling this. There is record of this being moved around, not just this one thing, but possibly several others. This is just the first document they have that verifies that this woman was paid out $27,000 in order to kind of cover this up, and that he did not alert the ethics committee. He did not alert an attorney that is obligated to deal with this in Congress on behalf of the taxpayers. He did not bring this to the forefront to leadership and ask for their support or help. He shoved it away. He hid it away, and he used the system that is built in that has allowed him to do this, which is freaking wrong, by the way. And so I'm sorry. No, you don't get due process right now. You do in a court of law, sure, if this person decides to take you to court of law, but I'm going to guess that the settlement that was made included the fact that she can never bring you to court again. I'm going to just put it out there and guess that there was some sort of stipulation and fine print that said, you know, she does not get to take legal action ever again in this case. So he knows he's safe there. But no, this goes back to this due process thing that we heard with Roy Moore, the thing that we heard with even, you know, with Trump, with Weiner, with any of these people with these allegations, right? And some of them even which have been proven. Yeah, you get due process in a court of law. You do not have the right to hold power and pull strings as a lawmaker in this country when there are credible allegations against you, and especially allegations in which you settled with taxpayer money. No, that is not what due process is about. Due process is about whether you are, you know, get sent to prison without having your say and having your day in court, or whether you get executed without having your day in court, or maybe even have to pay something without having your day in court. But that has no regards on whether or not you get to actually keep a position that in which you hold a lot of power and wield a lot of leverage. I'm not okay with that. That is not what the purpose of due process is, and it is not the burden of the American people or myself that are not put on a specific jury to afford you that. We get to have our opinion, and we get to be angry about it, and we get to call for your head if we want to.
That's the thing, though. I mean, how can he even talk about due process when he settled it already?
That's why I'm going this far with this one. He settled with taxpayer money and allowed it to go through the system in a way in which it covered up what was happening, so that it just looked on paper like an average transaction for employment. You don't do that when you have nothing to hide. Well, why would you?
And that's the thing that drives me crazy. You know, it's not even necessarily that the slush fund exists. You know, it doesn't. It does. You know, I understand that it was started for a completely different reason that it eventually morphed into. But we're talking about taxpayer funds being used for this stuff, while these people are screaming about things being broke and wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to put shrimp on treadmill and do God knows what else. I mean, I remember it was about this same time last year. You and I had done one of the waste and abuse shows that we typically do. We probably need to get one of those put together again. And we talked about the CNG gas station that was built in Afghanistan with taxpayer money for like what was it? Almost $1 billion, I think, maybe more than that, right, at this point. I mean, and we're hemorrhaging money as it is. We're wasting it left and right, and these people are basically using our tax dollars to settle sexual harassment suits. Right. Even if it was set up, you know, to make sure that they had ready cash on hand, I want to know why these people aren't having to come back in and account for the money that they're spending and put it back, since we technically pay their salaries too.
Right. And so because of some misdeeds at the very least, and in true illegal misconduct at the worst, the taxpayers shut this girl up to the tune of almost $30,000. That's just unacceptable to me. I'm sorry. He has to explain that. He needs to answer for it. And we get to call for his removal as a lawmaker, an elected lawmaker of this country. We get to do that. Due process or not, we get to question and go, nah, put it on the table right now, and we want to see all the cards, or get the hell out. We get to say that. That has nothing to do with criminal charges. It has nothing to do with civil suits. It has everything to do with that the American taxpayer has been misled and their money has been used in order to deal with whatever this was, true or not. He chose to help make it be, and other people chose to help make it be settled, make it go away, and make it look like nothing in the process, so that there would be no questions, there would be no investigation, and there would be no uproar. So bring them up. I'm done.
So, you know, well, here's the thing. I think this slush fund is going to have to be dealt with. Because I have to give you my honest opinion. As somebody that's scraping pennies together to try to build this, for $27,000, I'll let a congressman touch my pee-pee. I'm just saying.
I mean, there are kind of a lot of things any of us are like, for $27,000. Let me tell you, can you just be a little bit mean to me so I can get a piece of that slush fund too?
I mean, you know, all kidding aside, now that people know this thing exists, it's going to have to be dealt with, because now they're going to be climbing out of the woodwork and be like, well, he looked at me funny in 1994, and because of that, I want some of that. I mean, it's no different than when you know somebody that wins the lottery, and all of a sudden they have, like, long-lost relatives from Kentucky that they've never heard of before. Sorry, Ron, I wasn't trying to pick on Kentucky. It was just the first state that came to mind.
Hey, it's also where my husband's from, and let me tell you something about that. Quite often he will say something, do something, look at me a certain way, and I'll be like, honey, hey, hun, why don't you just tuck that back in right there? Right over there. Yeah, that's your Kentucky's it's just showing, it's hanging out a little bit. Just tuck it right back in.
So, not to take this in the wrong direction, but that's not a pet name for something, is it? Because that whole conversation just seemed really wrong.
The Kentucky, like, hillbilly redneck hanging out, and just the other weird cultural stuff. I'm like, the Kentucky is showing just a bit. Just go away and come back and deal with it. Thank you.
Come back when you remember you're in Texas. Oh. All right, well, believe it or not, my dear, we are just about out of time. We got about 4 minutes left. I did want to... I almost said a really bad way to phrase this, but I did want to talk about one other thing, because the other one that honestly has me completely flabbergasted right now is the whole Charlie Rose thing. I mean, first of all, what? Huh? I mean, it's just, well, I mean, at least CBS isn't mentioning anything. They suspended him as soon as they found out. They basically terminated him the day, and they're like, yeah, no, we're done. We don't care. We're not going to deal with it. But, the funny thing is, I pointed out the thing with, Al Franken earlier today, because, that's still going around, and the Charlie Rose thing. And the little troll that likes to hang out on my timeline, oh, it's funny how you're always bashing on the Democrats. What about all these women that are saying this about Trump? And I'm like, well, he's denying the allegations, for one. For two, if it turns out to be true, then I hope at some point he's actually tried criminally. And if convicted, then we should either chemically castrate any one of these people that is convicted of a sex crime, or hang them in a public square. Take your pick.
Yeah, I just don't get all of this. Like, what is wrong with these people? How does this happen? I mean, what goes through your brain to be like, what a good idea is? I mean, nah, stop. But, they have actually said for sure his contract has been terminated with CBS News and with PBS. So, sorry, Charlie. You're done.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've watched him on TV. It's just like, he came across as like your uncle or something. And we all make fun of, Bernie calling him Crazy Uncle Speedo or something, but I didn't think Charlie Rose was Crazy Uncle Speedo. I mean, dang.
Yeah, this one has taken me a little bit by surprise. I agree. I feel like just his persona does not seem to follow with this, but apparently.
But I mean, it's just one of those things where, and that's unfortunately one of the things that we're slowly starting to find out. You spend too much time running in a certain circle, and eventually you start believing your own press.
Yeah, I think, and I do want to say that I do think that a lot of this has more to do with that kind of thing, like believing your own hype, getting egotistical, kind of succumbing to your power than it says about some of these people have a true sickness with a psychological, with psychological implications that are serious. And I think other people, it's simply a little bit of the culture, a little bit of the way they were raised, maybe, or were taught at some point or another. And then just being eat up with yourself and with your power, and how often people have let you get away with not necessarily even anything sexual, but other things that are just kind of egregious and outrageous behaviors and attitudes, and speaking to someone a certain way when you were pissed off. And those limits just keep getting pushed. It's like when you just allow a toddler and you never put any real discipline on a young child, and you just they will just keep pushing and make it and see what the limit is. They'll see where they can go. I think that adults sometimes experience the same thing once there's a lot of ego, power, and money at play.
Yeah, I think they do too. I think the one thing that really has me flabbergasted with this one is and I think that's why they went ahead and terminated him, because honestly, Charlie Rose was another one of the ones, he didn't really deny it. He was like, well, I thought it was reciprocal. What? Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, that's what I'm talking about when you start, you start believing your own hype, or the phrase I used was, buying your own press.
Right. They genuinely think these women want them to, or would appreciate, or be, happy to be in the presence of their Willy Winky,
That was a phrase I didn't need. All right. So anyway, on the way out, why don't you remind folks where they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio talking about people touching people inappropriately with me?
Okay, well, come find me on Twitter at jhomestead, Facebook JR Homestead, and check out misfitspolitics.com. We will be putting out a little Turkey Day special Misfit memo And then we will also be doing Misfit Mischief on Friday after Turkey Day. It might not be as full-blown as usual and crazy interactive, but we'll have something to participate in and make it fun for those of you ready to escape your relatives after the holiday.
You still doing gift challenge tomorrow night or no?
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday. Yeah, definitely gift challenge tomorrow night.
Okay,
you are
cool.
correct.
Just double checking
Friday.
because you guys get some crazy traffic off that stuff. I've been actually trying to find some way to find something kind of like that to do with the station's account without like playing out just ripping out for you guys' idea.
We can brainstorm.
All right. So anyway, we're on the way out, folks. Again, No America Off the Rails tonight. I will be live on that show on Wednesday and Thursday this week. I'm kind of observing Thanksgiving a little bit early as far as that show is concerned, since I'll be working Thursday night. And then, of course, playoff schedule permitting, will actually be hopefully live Friday night with Robinson and Wright. I'm not sure if Dan's actually wanting to do that show this Friday or not. I guess I need to find out. Because if so, I might need to have somebody on standby again, only because, sadly, with it playoff time, the refs are calling every single thing, so a 2-hour game's taking 3. But anyway, on that note, folks, we are out for the night, and we will be back next Tuesday. I will be back with you live tomorrow night on America Off the Rails. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. In case I don't get a chance to talk to you again before then, enjoy the time with your family. Not too much. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Joe Biden. We'll be back next week. Take care.
In your belly, turkey in your belly, do the turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly with a big drumstick, do the turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly, turkey in your belly.